The following episode may contain inappropriate material. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to a fabulous edition of Mattalk, where today I'm going to pitch a better version of this episode. So one of the main characters in this episode is Tommy. So let's make it a Tommy Boy prequel and replace the actor that played Tommy with Chris Farley. And we've got a much better episode. I can't wait to check this out.
Wow, you're coming out hot. I mean, with your description of this episode.
Well, I mean, just make the character dumb instead of mentally challenged, and Chris Farley would fit in perfectly, and it could roll right into Tommy Boy. Get Brian Dennehy in there.
I will see your remake, but I will elevate it, because I think if you want to just recast Tommy, you need to make him a blind deaf boy that plays pinball very, very well.
Crickets, John, crickets. And I like
no, our listeners know and respect the Who. I guarantee. In fact, I'm going to throw down the challenge early. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like The Who, you should let us know. And Jason, how can we do that?
At benmattalk@gmail.com.
Or on the social medias, Twitter at @MattTalk_podcast, or on Facebook at @MattTalkPodcast. I say that a vast majority, Jason, of our listeners giggled a little bit when I made that Who reference, I'm sure.
Let us know, please. And also, subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button. Leave us a review down below. Those reviews help bring more guests onto the show. And I've got some ideas for guests. John's got some ideas for guests. And we're going to Libsyn as soon as we possibly can, because I can't wait to jump on Libsyn, because I think the people of India are ready to listen to Matt talk.
Yes, we can go international with Matlock and Matt Talk. Anyways, well, we have a great episode here. Again, Jason, how was the break? I know we took a little time off to recharge the batteries and everything. How were the holidays and whatnot?
I think the last time we did an episode was when I pulled my sciatic. So it's been great, man. It has been great. The new year has been absolutely fantastic. I was been on vacation all week, so I actually read a book in a day, which I have not done in probably 30 years. It's been a good vacation. I got caught up on some stuff that I've been wanting to get caught up on around the house, and yesterday, the Three Geeks podcast rebooted, and I'm excited for the future.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. How is the sciatica?
Oh my God, it's good. Thankfully, it was a week before my 40th birthday, because Kylie threw a surprise party, so I wasn't like wheelchaired into that.
Yes. Happy belated birthday as well, even though I was at the festivities, but doing it publicly here. I hope your birthday was good.
Did I introduce you to Jay, our Matt Talk fan that was there?
I think you did. Yes, you did. You did.
I'm trying to get him on. I'm trying to get him to come on and do this with us.
Yeah. See, we have fans everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And the empire is just going to expand.
That's right, folks. That's right.
Jason, let's go ahead and get into our opening statements.
Absolutely. I got to ask you a question, though, before we get into all the breakdown. Did you think the guy that played Tommy looked like a cross between Kurt Russell and Jason Bateman? Like, if they had a child together, it would be that guy.
Oh, Jason. You don't know who Tommy is?
No.
Okay, let's start it off. Original air date for this episode is April 18th, 1988, and I need to drop some knowledge on my partner here. Tommy is played by Don Swayze. That's right, Patrick's brother.
Patrick Swayze, that's who he looked like.
There you go, and the light bulb clicks on. Yes. Don Swayze has had a ton of one-offs and appearances on other shows. We could be here all half hour explaining and talking about what he's been on. He's been on the 2020 Magnum PI. He's been on NCIS Hawaii, The Rookie, American Horror Story, Sons of Anarchy, True Blood, I mean, I could go on and on and on. He has a vast resume, and I would say he doesn't need it because he's Patrick Swayze's brother. So,
oh my God, man! I looking at him now, like pulled up a photo, and if they ever wanted to make a Ghost 2, man, they just got to get his brother. He looks just like him.
yeah, I mean, he does. And there's a third brother, which I was unaware of. I think his name is Sean, I think. I'm not 100% on that, but I think there's a third brother too that's done some acting. So, man, the dynasty, the mafamilia of the Swayzes, top notch, man.
Yeah.
But we also have another guest star that I am a big fan of, and I'll explain why in a few moments. But let's talk about Claude Aiken, who's going to play the role of Sam Taylor. No relation to my partner, by the way. But you may also know him as Sheriff Cragg on Murder, She Wrote, Sheriff Elroy P. Lobo on The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, and BJ and the Bear. And I am a huge fan of this episode of The Twilight Zone starring Claude Aiken. Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. All right, Jason, so what's your thoughts on the actor Claude Akins?
I'm a big fan. He was in Battle for the Planet of the Apes, Inherit the Wind, Murder, She Wrote. So it's nice to see him. I think he looks a little bit like Andy Griffith, if I'm being honest.
There is a little bit of a resemblance. Yeah, like a heftier, bigger, Andy Griffith, because he's a stout fellow.
Yeah, he looked closer to like Andy Griffith from the Andy Griffith Show. But yeah, it was almost like looking at Andy Griffith like past and present.
Have you ever sampled BJ and the Bear? Are you familiar with that show?
I've heard of it. I don't. I remember the Tone Loc Bear one, but I don't remember that one.
The what? Tone Loc Bear?
Yeah, there was a bear show with Tone Loc.
Oh, okay. No, this was BJ and the Bear was the height of the CB radio craze in the late 70s. Like Any Which Way But Loose and Smokey and the Bandit and Convoy and all those. So this was an NBC show with a trucker played by Greg Avian, by the way, and a chimpanzee, and they went on misadventures. And Sheriff Lobo, I believe, was the foil, if you will, to those two.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
Yeah. Well, it only lasted 3 seasons, and there's probably a reason why. But I digress. Let's move on to a couple of other guest stars that we have. Ned Bellamy is going to star as Lyle. Now, I'll be quite frank and honest with you. Ned's going to show up in future seasons of Matlock, but he is very notable because much like Claude, much like Don Swayze, he has a gigantic list of accomplishments. He has played Dr. Novak and Father Stu, Vincent Abreu and Treme, Reverend Coggins and Under the Dome, Gerald Johns on Justified, Derek Mantini in Being John Malkovich. I mean, and on and on and on with Ned Bellamy. And his role as Luke is only going to be a very small one, but it's a very memorable one. In fact, when we start dissecting the episode, I'm going to probably focus quite a bit on this one scene that I thought was fantastic.
I've only really seen Under the Dome in that list of stuff that you mentioned, but I'll have to check out some of that other stuff for sure.
And lastly, June Chadwick is going to play the role of Patricia Taylor. You may also know her from her role as Lydia on V, the TV series. Jeannie Pettibone in This Is Spinal Tap. Jillian in the movie Jumpin' Jack Flash. Lieutenant Parisi on Riptide, and a whole host of others as well.
Jumpin' Jack Flash. That's the Whoopi Goldberg movie, right?
Yep, Jumpin' Jack Flash. I don't know much about it. All I remember in the advertisement is she's in a phone booth and she's being drug away by like a truck, looked like was hooked up to the phone booth. I don't know why it was hooked up. It just was. And so that's all I remember about that movie. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. I think I've seen Whoopi Goldberg in Color Purple and Sister Act 1 and 2.
Now, how about V, the TV series? Are you a fan of V? Because I know there were several miniseries, and then they decided to have a very bad rendition of the TV series because of budget concerns, and I forget who the actor was. It was incredibly difficult to deal with. But were you a fan of V, or are you a fan of V?
I've not seen it. I saw the new one that they had with she was on Firefly. I saw the newer version.
Marina Baccan.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not see any of the original stuff.
Oh, you're missing out. You're missing out. The original two miniseries are okay. The TV show I've never seen, but it's universally panned as being awful.
Okay.
All right, with that being said, Jason, I have to ask you a question. A very important question. Are you ready to give an opinion? Your opinion and solely your opinion, so help you?
I do.
Then
Let's
it's time.
testify!
As I said earlier in this episode, man, you are ready to jump the gun. It's time to testify.
Testify!
All right, the plot of this episode, The Thoroughbred, is Matlock must defend a special needs man accused of murdering a daughter to a very well-known ranch owner. We go to our opening scene, which is no surprise, ladies and gentlemen. It's very picturesque. It's a farm, a horse farm, no doubt. And we see that young Tommy is very concerned about a horse that is in the stables that's very sick. And John, I believe his last name was Donovan, is with him. And it's remarkable. It's remarkable, Jason, that Tommy seems to be, well, to use a pun, a horse whisperer.
Yeah.
I stumped you on that, didn't I?
Like, is he done?
The manager, Clint, gets angry with Tommy. And he's kind of a jerk, by the way. I'm just going to throw it out there. Jerk in capital letters. Jason, do you agree or disagree with me that Clint is pretty much, well,
a jackass? Yes.
He's a jackass. And he's going to be called a jackass. I think it would be funny if there was a jackass somewhere in the in the background.
Yeah, it'd been a good scene for Steve-O to just be in.
Who? Steve-O?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Woo! All right, sorry about that one, folks. All right, Patricia is riding a horse hard to discipline it. And because she almost threw her off, and so she's determined to make certain this horse knows who's boss. Tommy is very upset at the treatment that Patricia is giving the horse. So he jumps the wall. The horse throws Patricia. And then, man, she is ticked off, as she has every right to be, because I just felt like, wouldn't Tommy, I know that he is mentally challenged. I get that. But the way that it appears that he's been on this farm for a while, you would think that he wouldn't overreact like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Jason, what do you think?
I would tend to agree with you. I think there's a lot of overreacting in this episode.
Yes, there is. There is. Patricia and Sandra, who is the daughter of Sam Taylor, they get into an argument. And it's basically like, wait till I tell dad type of argument, et cetera, et cetera. Later on, we get a scene where Tommy shows up in Sandra's office and she goes, you saved us all this money because you knew that horse was sick. We got it to the vet. You saved us a lot of money, Tommy. And Tommy is very flattered by this, so much so that he knocks over a giant trophy of a horse and breaks it.
Yes. Tommy does play as autistic a little bit in this, so maybe that's some of the quick to anger, because I know some autistic people are quick to anger. So, I mean, it could be that as well.
Oh, you mean when he got mad about the Patricia, being mean to the horse? Well, maybe, yeah. But still, I just got to think that probably is not the first time Patricia's done that in my mind. And so I just felt like it was a little bit of an overreaction. Like, I don't know. It would hopefully register that if I run out there, I might get Patricia hurt or killed, maybe. I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit overreacting. Well, Sandra is invited by Patricia to go to dinner, and because she feels bad. She calls Sandra and she's like, look, I'm sorry, I overreacted. I shouldn't have treated the horse that way, et cetera, et cetera. But Sandra says, you know what? I'm going to take a rain check. I got a lot of stuff to do, but I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So Tommy, we cut to a scene with him fixing the horse trophy, And he's there, and then John enters, who is one of the other ranch hands, and he says, hey, man, you got to go finish unloading that hay. So that means Tommy is now put in the vicinity of the stalls as well as Sandra's office. And what do you know? Tommy finds Sandra dead, and he runs away as Sam Taylor shows up on the scene. All right.
Well, at least he didn't hug him, like a hugger, or like get all in her personal space, like some of these people do.
That's true. I was going to say, Tommy didn't break the rule that you have of, rolling around in the blood and the DNA and everything. Well, the cops arrive and they find Tommy hiding out in a stall. And then Tommy does not go peacefully, by the way. He's, adamant about he didn't do it. And he's throwing around some of those policemen like they're rag dolls. But eventually Sam gets him to calm down. And then we cut to a scene of Ben arriving on the scene. Haha, see what I did there? A little pun. Anyways, and we find out that Ben and Sam were friends. And there's a little backstory that Tommy didn't have a great home life, and Sam kind of took him in, and Tommy and Sandra kind of, quote, grew up together, end quote. But I was really I didn't anticipate this, and I really, honestly, it shocked me. I know it's 1989, but I just really wasn't ready for the R word to be used.
It is a little jarring now, but yeah, that was thrown around a lot back in the day.
I agree. I know.
I was probably one of those people that threw it around because I didn't fully understand.
Guilty as charged too. At that point I would have been 89. In the mid 80s, I would have been in middle school. I probably said it too, probably in a derogatory way too. So, but I just really wasn't ready for it. Like when it said, I was like, whoa, oh yeah, they probably.
It's weird.
Said that. Yeah.
It's weird when something like that strikes your head differently, because I've never really thought of it as a negative term. But when I heard it, I'm like, yeah, it is. Because I haven't heard it in so long because people just don't use it. And I think back then it was a commonly used word to describe that, though.
Yeah, it was.
Incorrectly.
But yeah, I had a special needs stepbrother. He passed on a couple of years ago, but so that was one of the catalysts for me to make sure that I did not use that term myself. But yeah, it was a little bit jarring. Patricia arrives and she meets Ben, and Ben has agreed to take on Tommy's case. So I don't think he's charging the $100,000 though. I'm sure he's getting they consider that pro bono work, I believe. So Ben talks to Tommy at the police headquarters, and oh man, this is pretty good scene, I thought. This is my opinion. Ben is going to try to plead diminished capacity. All right, that's the game plan. Like, we could get you in a hospital. You don't have to go to jail. And man, oh man, Tommy's not having it. He is adamant that he wants to go home. He wants to go home. And I thought this was a pretty good scene based on that idea that, look, we could take the easy way out, spend a couple of years in the hospital, boom, you're back out, on the farm or wherever you want to go. And Tommy was adamant about he wanted to be back home. I thought this was a very well written part to this episode. Jason, do you agree or disagree?
The scene was fine. To me, it seemed like, his friend was like, look, he didn't do it. I know Tommy couldn't have done this. So I didn't understand fully why Ben was going to the let's plead, this.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Because it sounded like, granted, you ask once, but it almost sounded like he was like pleading with him, let's do this instead of this, even though Tommy kept saying, I'm innocent.
Yeah, no, that's a good point that you bring up, because, in the scene prior to, or two scenes prior to, Matlock was all about, well, I know he couldn't have done it. Sam says he couldn't have done it. He's not, doesn't have that in him, blah, 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 blah. That's a very good point. I didn't think about that now it's kind of like turning the tables, if you will, on Tommy and being like, no, let's use your disability as an advantage.
And Sandra was the daughter, correct?
Yes, Sandra was the daughter. Patricia was the wife.
Okay, so why weren't he more upset about his daughter's death? Like, that struck me too. Like, you don't really seem to care. Like, I'm sure he cared, but there was no like crying. I don't mean you don't have to go episode 1 of Twin Peaks into the crying, but like a little bit, maybe a little upset in your voice.
Sam Taylor seems more upset about that championship horse dying than his daughter dying. You know what I mean?
That just struck me.
No, that's a good point too, because there's not a lot of emotion when he talks about Sandra. I kind of maybe would think, and here, go with me on this, the theory could be that maybe it's unlike other Matlock episodes. Maybe the timeline has been expanded So maybe it had been many weeks after Sandra's death and whatnot. Maybe he was dealing with it better. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I just know if something happened to my kid, I would be in a crying coma for like probably 12 years. And if they were murdered, I'd be even worse. I'd be John Wick it on the streets.
I was just going to say, are you going to go all Frank Castle?
I was going to go Frank Castle, John Wick, Santa Claus from Violent Night. Like, I'm getting some stuff taken care of.
All right. Well, Ben is on board to take the case, and we go to the courtroom where Julie is questioning the mental capacity of Tommy, which Ben states that his expert has deemed he is competent to stand trial. And there's still some more arguing in between Julie and Ben, which I love. Again, I love that rivalry. It's very important, but not very important to the story. If you that, I know that makes no sense. And people at home are like, "What do you mean, John?" I'm just thinking that it's subtle. That rivalry is subtle. It lies under the surface, but it's always there, and I love it.
I agree. Could Tommy come back and plead insufficient counsel if he came back as guilty for not being pled as handicapped?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Would that have been a scapegoat later on? But even with let us know, benmattalk@gmail.com. We are not experts. We're not experts in anything, so just let us know in the comments.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're experts in lots of things, okay? Lots of things, all right? Anyways, you know what? They probably would appeal. I would say I've watched enough of these attorney shows to say they probably file an appeal and say, hey, look, this was not handled this way. He's clearly got diminished capacity, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so Michelle Thomas and Ben visit the farm. And while there, Ben decides to head on out and check out the farm. And Ben finds Sam hanging out at this gigantic horse grave. And they talk a little bit about, hey, I had been borrowing money and Sandra was so good with the books. And, I married Patricia 2 years ago. And what is probably the most scandalous part of this is that, Patricia was only 5 years older than Sandra. So there was some tension there. And Michelle Thomas ends up in Sandra's office when she talks to Patricia. And Patricia talks about how, she's there to try to take care of Sam and all this jazz, which me being me, I was like, So when you two have relations, are you ever worried of a heart attack for Sam Taylor? Because there are a lot of years between old Sam Taylor and his wife, Patricia. Not that there's anything wrong with that. As long as it's all legal, okay? That's all that we care about here on Mattalk. So next, we have the return of the jackass, Clint. Clint picks on Tommy. I mean, and he just, what do you think they're going to do with you in prison? You're going to jail, blah, 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 blah. What an absolute moron. And then we find out that Ben is talking to John. John is the former foreman on the farm, but he was demoted by Patricia. All right. There's a little bit of motive there for John to maybe be his prime suspect when all of a sudden Tommy swipes John's truck. And man, oh man, he's playing like he's on the Dukes of Hazzard, Jason.
This entire sequence didn't need to be there. Like the Clint stuff, him running away, none of that needed to be there. Like when he was in the hotel, I thought he was overhearing something important, which we're going to get to that in a second, but it wasn't. So there was no reason for any of this next, 20 minutes or not 5 minutes of sequences. They led to nothing. I wish they had and then Tommy runs off to a hotel. I wish that in that hotel, it had led to a clue or something. Cause you hear the people yelling in the background. I was like, okay, maybe it's the guy who did it. And they had some kind of scheme with the farm. And no, it literally was just us watching cartoons for a minute.
Dude, the funny part was just when he came around the corner and that truck fishtailed. I'm like, did they just go, hey, Andy, real quickly, we still have $25,000 in the budget. What do you want to do? I know what we're gonna do. Let's have a car chase in this scene. Get me some stuntmen. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like that. Let's shoehorn this in.
Let's buy the rights to a cartoon that we can air right here.
So he almost wrecks the truck. And then the truck stalls, which I thought was funny because I was like, wait a minute. I didn't see Tommy shifting. And so it has to be an automatic. And so he walks away at this intersection. And as you said, Tommy ends up in a motel, which,
like, seriously, how perfect would it have been if
yeah,
we have that scene in the barn, which was only there to make Clint look guilty. We still had that scene in the barn, and then Tommy takes off. And then Tommy sees the old foreman at the hotel after hearing him arguing in the room. And then, he finds Tyler and goes away. And then Ben then questions him. Like, that would have been, it would have made more sense for that all to have been there.
Right, because I was like, number one, I put down how many bed bugs are in this room. Anyways.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I saw the magazines, I'm like, dude, get out. There's nothing good about that room. Like, it is gross. It already looked gross, but those just like put it over the edge. I would have gone to a better hotel, and then I would have burned my clothing, and I would have just soaked in the tub for like an hour.
Wait a minute, time out. I got a better idea. What should have happened was the noisy neighbors, which, by the way, let's talk about it. There's neighbors next door, and that freaks Tommy out, and he runs away.
Yeah, they're fighting.
Yeah, because they're fighting. My thing would be, this would be epic. This would be a little crossover action. Are you ready, Jason? There's a murder in that room because those two people are arguing. There's a murder. So the very next episode, Matlock doesn't get to leave that little town. All right, he has to defend the person accused of a murder in that room. You could still rehash all of the other characters. All right, minus John, and there you go.
I mean, seriously, you could have just had the foreman guy. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
His name is John. That's John.
Arguing with the person from the track who could, clarify when that photo was taken. Yeah. And killed him. And then there would have been another murder. It would have led to the end. And I'm just saying, like, it literally makes no sense all the way up through Tyler picking up Tommy. Like, none of it needed to be there.
Well, one thing that did need to be there is Angry Ben. Because Angry Ben's on a mission. And he finds that jackass, Clint. And boy, does he ream him, man. Clint, clearly not the nicest individual. And now we go to what I think, Jason, I'm going to say it. I'm going to give you a hot take. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This next scene might be my favorite scene so far in any episode of Matlock. I think this is my favorite because it's so ridiculous. And it's got Tyler Hudson. It's got everything you want. In fact, I even remembered that the scene was in this episode. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Tyler finds the vacant truck that Tommy had. And then he gets in his car. And then we cut to a scene where Tommy enters this like truck stop, restaurant-like place, and he's playing video games. And these two idiots, one of them is being Ned, of course. One of them is Ned Bellamy, of course, Lyle. They start making fun, and they start, poking fun and whatnot. And you think something bad's going to happen, but no. Who's to the rescue? Dr. Tyler Hudson is here, criminal psychologist. Oh my gosh, this was amazing.
It was funny, but again, it didn't need to be there.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. But if you're going to go all out, do something ridiculous like this. I love because you have managed to capture one of the most dangerous men out there. I know you didn't mean to break Dr. So-and-so's neck. Wow,
so let me ask you a question. Going back to the beginning of this episode and consistency is, why wouldn't Tommy start reacting to everything Tyler is saying? Like, I didn't kill two people. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good continuity issue right there. Because you would have thought, yeah, I didn't break his neck. That's
because you spent the episode showing that he gets upset when he's accused of things or when something's not right, and it just did not happen there. So again, I'm curious if you guys have, like, I can't speak on mental illness because I don't have a whole lot of it around me. But to me, it just seems like if you're going to be this way about one thing, then wouldn't you be this way about another thing? And maybe I'm just being picky. Well, I'm watching a lot of TV right now, so.
Well, and I'm also, like I said, I had some experience because of my stepbrother, but yeah, by all means, I don't know. I think it might be a case of maybe the situation. I don't know. So, but again, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to drop us a line in all seriousness and let us know if we're way off track or whatnot. But let's get back to Ben and Michelle. They are checking out an old briefcase, and they find a bunch of old calendars and a picture of a horse. And that leads us into a courtroom scene. Mr. Clint is on the stand, and Ben brings up the fact that Clint likes to drink. In fact, that was mentioned earlier on in the episode in a previous scene. Matlock's theory is you killed Sandra because she wanted to fire you. But Clint has an alibi. Clint says the night of the murder, he was so drunk at the Continental Bar that he passed out on the dance floor or somewhere in that bar. And there you go. And ladies and gentlemen, again, we've said it once, we'll say it again. Only on Matlock could a good alibi being so wasted, so drunk that you can't move, or you're making love to somebody else. Those are the two golden alibis for this fantastic show. All right, Ben is at his office and he's on the phone. And then all of a sudden something comes to him. An idea pops in his head. So Michelle and Ben run off to the farm. And Ben, before they leave the office, asks, "What's Tyler doing?" "Nothing." And we see in the very next scene, Tyler's digging up that horse grave.
Yeah, give me the whole chase scene and just give us like 2 minutes of Tyler digging and just like saying all these awful things about Ben.
Yeah,
that's Ben.
Yeah, there you go. So we go back to the courtroom.
I was the whiz, now I'm digging holes.
So we go back to the courtroom, and Sam is on the stand to talk about his award-winning horse, Knight's Legend. Now, unfortunately, Knight's Legend won all these awards and won all these races and made buku bucks and whatnot. But unfortunately, in the very last race, he shatters a leg. Sam admits he was just doing it to placate his ego, that, he can win one more. And so he asked the foreman to end the horse's life and to bury the horse out where it was found, out in the pasture.
Again, I don't know a lot about horses, but a shattered leg, is that like justification to put it down?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. If a horse breaks a leg, it's pretty much done. So John, the foreman, is now on the stand. And they go back and forth about, you used to be the foreman and now you've been demoted, and, your relationship with Sandra, et cetera, et cetera.
You must have been so bad. They got this jerk to replace you.
Yeah. This jackass that's been like, and they ran down with Clint, like he had 7 different jobs at 7 different horse farms. But nonetheless, Ben shows a picture to John of the horse. And the picture, as Matlock did some research, found out that the picture was taken just 3 months ago. And so that particular horse had won a race, and it's actually the offspring of Knight's Legend. Sandra knew about the scam. John took Tommy's knife. In fact, Tommy was using that knife on fixing the trophy, and killed Sandra and then blamed it on Tommy. Now, who's worse? Is it John because he blamed the mentally handicapped guy for the murder, or Clint because he's just an abusive jackass? I like how you're processing that. You're really thinking. I caught you off guard with that one, didn't I?
The guy who committed murder is obviously the worst, but I mean, like, Clint is not a great guy either. And again, I don't know a lot about horses, so people, please educate me. benmattalk@gmail.com. But can you really tell just by a photo, like, that is obviously that horse's offspring? Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, if I saw a photo, like when I saw Patrick Swayze's brother today, I was like, I know that that's somebody, but I could not place it. Like, I came up with a weird cross analogy, which I still think is perfect for a Swayze. I'm just, to me, it just seemed like, really? Like, it's that easy? Because to me, horses all look alike, and I'm not trying to be prejudiced. I know that there's some horses that look different. Like, I know that there's darker horses and like white lines, all of that stuff. Like, I understand that there are horses that look different. I didn't get it.
Okay, from having an ex-girlfriend that had a horse, I can tell you that I agree with you 100%. Like, to me, it's very difficult to picture and to describe. Like, if they gave me a lineup, like in Law and Order, of like 6 horses, which horse did the crime, John, I wouldn't be able to ID them. Okay?
No, and I mean we're talking 1988 photos or 1990 photos. Like it's not like they're crisp HD. Like I again, so a lot of things in this episode I'm ignorant to. I don't know. So this is just another one. Like I don't know. Can you tell the difference between horses? I'm
From
sure
my
Gino's going to tell me. Gino, hit me up.
Gino Cuddy, hit us up and let us know. From my experience, as I said with an ex-girlfriend, unless they have like unique color patterns to them, it is difficult to tell. If they're all just a straight black horse, then they're, it's hard to tell. All right. Or if they're all, all brown horses. But if they're black and they have patches of white to them, it makes it a little bit easier to identify them. But yeah, from my experience, I think it would be very difficult for a layman to go in and go, oh yeah, that's Knights Legends kid.
I know, like with twins, like for instance, twin humans, like I can't tell the difference between two different people that are obviously twins, but their parents know. So I understand if like the guy knew a picture of the actual horse, but like the offspring is where I'm like thrown off. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't it look
I agree.
like his mom too? Like, I don't understand. Like, how can you tell?
Oh, if only there was some zoologists. Would that be the people we would need to turn to figure out this problem?
I don't know. Let us know the definition of zoologist as well.
All right, well, the episode ends with Tommy back on the farm, and everyone is happy and elated, and that ends the episode, The Thoroughbred. Jason, you have any other notes before we get to our
nobody's missing poor Sandra. Like, poor Sandra. Was she, like, just a vile person that nobody liked?
God. I just took a sip. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You almost were witness to a murder as Jason tried to kill me with that particular little anecdote.
Well, folks, I'm going to give Sandra a 2-second moment of silence. There we go. See, we just mourned her more than this episode did. I just want to point that out.
All right. With that, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our closing statements. This is the part of
the podcast where John and I give our...
I knew you were going to do it. This is the part of the podcast where we shall give this episode a rating. We will base it on a gavel system. 5 gavels for an absolutely awesome episode, 1 gavel for a lousy episode. Not only will we give you those ratings, but we'll also justify the ratings as well. Jason, I realized that I did not mention something very notable because I'm holding on to it. It's like a trump card in euchre, if you will. I was holding on to it. So may I go first, please?
Sure.
I'm giving this episode 4 gavels. Why, you may ask? Well, because I felt like there was some really great acting from Tommy, a.k.a. Don Swayze, to Tyler Hudson, there was a lot of good acting. I thought that was one thing. It didn't seem to be overly hokey. I thoroughly enjoyed Tyler's comedy as being the criminal psychologist. Love it. The negative I have, it seemed to be a little bit of a flimsy motive for murder, if you ask me. I was just like, you're going to get fired. You stole this horse's DNA. I don't know. I thought it was kind of flimsy.
Yeah, like Jason, you're going to get way more trouble going to jail than instead of killing a horse, keeping a horse.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we didn't talk about this, but this is in my reasoning for why I gave it 4 gavels. We had a horse in the courtroom.
We did. I told Kylie, because Kylie wants to be a lawyer. That's my daughter. I said, if you ever become a lawyer and you pull a horse in the courtroom, I will be so proud.
Yes, there was a horse in the courtroom, which I thought was bonkers, but I loved it.
Something I don't know. If you can bring a horse into a courtroom, let us know.
You know what? I'm surprised because, sometimes Tyler gets the real crap jobs. I'm surprised literally he didn't have the crap job. Where maybe it was Michelle bringing in the horse in the front and shoveling the poop in the back was Tyler, since he gets the crap jobs sometimes anyways. Or it would have been better if it was Ace Calhoun leading in the horse.
He would have wrote it, though. Ace Calhoun would have Paul revered it.
Yes. Matlock is coming. Anyways. All right, Jason, what was your rating?
I give it a 3 out of 5. It was an average episode. I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it. It was fine. A lot of things didn't make sense as to why they were there. I agree the Tyler stuff was funny. It didn't need to be there. I just wish we had gotten an extended scene of Tyler digging. because to me that would have been funny, almost like when they were in California together and Tyler was hungover and we got that little snippet of comedy of him just egging Ben on. I just wish we would have gotten something like that in that sequence, but yeah, it's fine. It was good.
And now I did mention earlier on in the episode that this, much like our last episode that we did, not the cover girl, but the last episode for season 3, I've seen this episode many times. It is apparently also is one of those favorites on MeTV. So I've seen it. So when I read the title, I'm like, oh, I know which one this is. This is with Patrick Stewart. This is with Patrick Swayze's brother, and this is the one with the crazy like Don Swayze's Michael Myers-like character, thanks to Tyler. So I was all primed and ready to go for it. But surprisingly, I still forgot a few things as well. Like I totally forgot about the horse in the courtroom.
I remembered this episode too, like mostly. I didn't remember the horse in the courtroom. I didn't remember the ridiculous chase sequence. But I don't know when I've seen it, but I felt like I had just seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just saw it so much when I was younger that it's like fresh in my brain. But because all I've watched is the stuff we're watching for Matlock, so I don't know where I would have seen this recently.
All right, with that, then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up here. Jason, talk to us about the Three Geeks podcast.
We're doing a bit of a refresh. We started back yesterday. You guys can check it out. We're going to be on all podcasting platforms as usual, getting a little bit more into the geeky stuff as we once were, and going to be clean-ish is what I'm going to say. Can't wait to dive into it and get going, but it's nice little reboot of sorts. And reviewing Avatar Way of the Water. Spoiler alert, that movie is spectacular.
Okay, the PVD cast is my own personal podcasting project. Right now I am still on a little vacation. I waited a week. Jason started his a week before. I'm returning with brand new episode January 12th. I'm looking forward to it. I already, actually, to be bluntly honest, to be completely transparent, I already have many episodes already in the can. So even though I took a break, I really didn't take a break, to be honest with you. But anyways, nonetheless, so I'm looking forward to releasing those. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Patreon. All right, we got the Larry Hankin stories there. Of course, you can donate whatever amount of money you like. Even if you don't want to participate, let some folks know about it. All right, patreon.com/Larry Hankin. We're still trying to round up some folks that would like to learn about, Larry's career, his upbringing, his projects, et cetera, et cetera. So again, check it out, patreon.com/Larry Hankin.
Even if you don't want to learn about Larry, like you're like, I don't care if the stories are funny. Yeah, so indeed. It's worth it just listening to the words that come out of the man's mouth.
There you go. All right, Jason, anything else?
No, John. As they say in court, nothing further.
You stole my stuff.
Oh, sorry. Stay righteous. Stay independent.
No, stop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. The following is a joint production of the Three Geeks podcast and John Orlando Enterprises, LLC. Copyright 2023.